Good afternoon, everyone. Obviously, we want to get a win. It would cement our place in the second round, and then the last group game would obviously determine who goes top. But I've seen the matches over the last couple of days. There's no easy game. And we've played Tanzania before, but that game's out of the window. It means nothing. So we also know that they need to win to stay in the competition. So we need to make sure that, again, we don't concede, because we are going to create opportunities and then take those opportunities, and we need to be a lot more in the attacking third when we are there to take the chances, because we had a couple of chances against Ghana that could have sealed the game, and then they hit the crossbar after that, so we could have been way out of distance. So we've got to make sure that we do that, because yes, defenses win you matches, but goals also win you matches. So we've got to make sure of that. But we do know that probably the captain, Opa, and Lebohang will come into the matchday squad, and they will bring a different dimension to their team. Opa's a top-class striker, and we've seen what Clara can do. So we have to be aware of that as well. We are aware of everything that they have to offer. But we just have to execute our plan and make sure that our plan comes to the fore. Because that is the most important thing. Yes, we analyze like they're going to analyze us, but we also concentrate a lot more on what we need to do to make sure that we get those things right.
Question?
Hi Des, you've spoken quite a bit there about some of the improvements you need to make. Just when you look at someone like Opa, who was just in here a moment ago, and the way that maybe the defense played against Ghana, is there something specific, maybe you don't want to give away everything, but something specific that you think can be done, in terms of improvement in the defense terms?
Look, I think if she probably played in the game, first game, the few chances that they had, she would probably have finished those chances. That's what I'm talking about. She brings them a different dimension with the way she holds up the ball and the movement off the ball. And we got to be aware of that. Clara brings a lot of pace and very directness as well. So we are aware of that, and we have to be a little bit more defensively organized. It was our first game. First games are always tough games. There's a lot of things that sometimes don't go right, because everybody wants to win that first game. So there's still a lot of room for improvement, but we're happy that we kept a clean sheet. That's a good start. So defensively, we have to really be aware of the movement, of the speed, of the pace, of the space behind, etc. But we can also hurt other teams with what we have to offer. So we're not going to sit back and defend, because we're also looking for that 3 points, the same as they're looking for their 3 points, to make sure that we can get a point possibly from the last game to top the group.
Des, what's it going to be like to play against people who are similar size as you?
Well, we've played teams like that before, but we know they still have the physicality in the squad, especially in the defensive side. Opa's a big girl, Clara's also quite tall, and a few other players, but we're quite used to that, right, Lebo? We're used to that, playing against teams that are physically stronger than us, but we've got to stick to our strength. We've got to stick to our strength with the way we move the ball around, with our movement off the ball, with the pace that we have, and with our organization. We've got to stick to what we are good at, because physically, many teams we play against, we can't match them. You look, when we played against England, they were physically stronger than us, but the way we moved the ball around, the way we got behind them, I think the 2-1 loss was probably not a true reflection. So we have to stick to what we're good at, because we're not going to change for anything. That is our strength, that is our DNA, and that is what we're good at.
To the player level, you saw how Tanzania played. They lost that first match. South Africa won. So basically, they fighting for their lives, so to speak. As a player of South Africa, what can you expect tomorrow against Tanzania?
To be honest, it's going to be a tough one. I know we've played them before, and now in this competition, what they need, it's a win to keep them in the run to get out of the group stage. And I think as a team, we just need to stick to our game plan and make sure we do our best, because it's going to be challenging. And also, I know Tanzania. I think half of the team I've played against in Mamelodi Sundowns in the Champions League. So it's going to be a tough one, because to be honest, we know each other. So it's like We are friends, but not friends. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. But it's just a matter of staying focused and doing what we do best.
Coach, Dr. Coach still. I was wondering if you will, take your coaching hat off for a second as a lover of African football and someone who wants to see it improve across the board, whether that's actually to the detriment of your team or not, because others are getting better. You've now had a lot of chances to see Tanzania, whether or not you've played them, but up close and personal, they've benefited a lot from being invitees, to CASAFA. So what do you make of, I would say, a massive improvement, especially in individual players and what they've been able to go on and do over the last few years?
It's the investment that you put in. It's plain and simple. They had the youth team go to the World Cup. That experience that you get, even at the youth level, is so much. You get experience at Champions League, you get experience playing at WAFCON. They've got the experience and the 5 games that they played at CASAFA, so that has really, really helped them. That has helped them to gel better. That has helped them to get the synergy amongst their players, because sometimes you come into camp for a week and you cannot fix everything, and you can see the connection sometimes is not there, so they've had that benefit. But it's just not Tanzania that has grown. I think football on the continent has grown. If you look at the players that are going to clubs, they're no longer going to, with all due respect, to Albania or Kazakhstan or so, they're going to top clubs. It shows how football on the African continent has improved, and it's getting better and better. If you look at some of the games, it's end-to-end stuff. You're not sure who's going to win on the day. Teams are coming from behind. Teams are not giving up. It shows how important this competition has become. It also shows that some of the players that are now playing abroad, the experience that they're bringing back to their teams, you can see it. We've seen it with our players coming back, the experience that they've brought to the team. And they've had a couple of players. I know one of the players played with Hilda, played with Sino, at Maslatan, I know. And she scored a lot of goals for them there. And I know Oprah playing at Juarez, where Jermaine used to be. So we know of their players, and that has helped them grow as a group. So you cannot underestimate anyone. I think the days of going into a match where you rank number 2 and the other team is ranked number 100, it doesn't mean anything anymore. You underestimate the team at your own peril, because you could go behind early and then you're chasing the game and then things don't go your way, and before you know it, it's the 80th minute and you're still behind. So you underestimate the team at your own peril. You go step onto that field and you're saying it's 11v11, let's take our chances, let's be focused, let's be organized at the back and get the result that we want. But you're playing against an opponent that has analyzed you as well, and people forget that. And sometimes when a goal gets scored, people are saying, oh, what a silly goal. But they've analyzed. They've found an opening there. You're not playing against someone who's just stepped onto the field. You look at last night, you look at PSG and Real Madrid, you look at that game, who would have thought that it would have turned out like that? It was probably one-way traffic, and that is the Real Madrid. But that's how football has changed. You can't just step onto the field and think you're a big name, you're a defending champion, and everybody's just going to give way to you. You've got to earn that right, and you've got to step up there and do the job to get the result. So if teams think we are coming here because we're defending champions, we're coming here because we're a contender like every other team that's here, every other country that's here, that has that ambition of winning the WAFCON. We also have that ambition. Yes, we're the defending champions, but we have that ambition of winning WAFCON as well, like every other country. So we are contender as much as they are contender, and everybody keeps talking about defending champions, but for us, we are contender. We are contender. It would be great, because Nigeria is the only country that's done this, that back to back. So it would be fantastic for the team as well, over the years, what they've done, to be able to get over that last hurdle to do that. But knowing that we've gotten over that hurdle, I think that helps us a lot.
Coach, there were some heavy legs towards the end of last game against Ghana, and Lebo will attest to that, and maybe she can answer as well. How much of a difference will it make playing at 8 in the evening?
Oh my goodness, and it just the weather doesn't change. The day before, when we match -1, when we did the familiarization, the weather was fine. The next day it was even hotter at the same time. I shudder to think the teams that played at 3 p.m. how they felt, because you could see it wasn't just one team, it was both teams. After 65, everything just went, it's energy sapping, it's draining. like Lebo can speak about that because she was just telling me earlier as well. We were having a discussion while we were waiting for the driver, having the same discussion. For us on the bench, we kept drinking liquids because it was that bad. It was that bad. So I think when we trained last night, we trained not at 8 but a similar time. It was way cooler, and the players really enjoyed that, you know. So hopefully it will be much cooler to have a good game right till the end, not after 60 minutes the energy goes down.
Yeah, it was draining, to be honest. Like the 5 o'clock match, it was just too much. The heat was a lot. I think going into the last 70 minutes of the game myself, like I felt I was flying. I couldn't feel my legs. Like the strength was, like I didn't have any energy in my body anymore. But I think going into this game, since we're playing late, I think it's gonna be much better. I think just hoping that the heat won't be as much as the last game. But from yesterday when we trained, it was much better. It was cool. I think we enjoyed ourselves. So tomorrow, I think we just have to continue from where we started yesterday and enjoy ourselves in the field of play.
Lebo, you mentioned you know them well and you're friends, but you're not friends. Is it an advantage to know a team really well, like, or is it a bit like they know everything about you guys as well? What do you think is better in terms of how much you know about each other?
You know, when you know your opponents very well, I think it's good. So it means you know what you're gonna expect. So it's just a matter on that day who wants it that bad. So I think as a team we just need to stay focused and do our best in the field of play, because like they've improved as a team, and us as Banyana, I think we have grown also. But it's just a matter of tomorrow who wants it.
Lebo, if you were the coach, what would you say to this? You know, how does it change? It's a different client, it's cooler, hopefully it's differently sized opponents. How do you think the game plan might change from the first game, the Ghana game, compared to this one?
Yeah, if I was a coach.
She can't hear you.
Okay, she's not here.
Yeah.
So I think if I was a coach, I was going to tell my team to just move the ball around. That's all they need to do, because that's our strength as a team. Moving to small pockets, keeping the ball that long, making sure we tire our opponents, and making sure that when we get in the final third, we create those chances and maybe capitalize on them, because I think that's the strength that we have as Banyana. As short as we are, but I think we have a good fighting spirit. So I think also teamwork is going to be key tomorrow. So that's what we need to do, just keeping the ball and making sure we move around the pitch. Because if the heat is not there, that means it favors us.
I think you can take that job now.
I have to keep talking. Obviously, you will know that Papa will be starting, and the potential for Clara as well to start. For yourself, do you relish these opportunities to come up against like the really top players, top female players in the world? Like what does it do to you, and you know, mentally preparing yourself for that big challenge?
Facing top players, it's not a challenge for me personally. I can handle anyone. But I think this is a team sport. It's not about individual players. So I think if Clara is going to start, it's just a matter of us as a team to work together. I think also the communication amongst the team is going to be key. And I think going forward into the final third, what we need to do is just to stay composed. So we can't just say Clara is coming, we need now to like panic and all that. But I think if we stick to our game plan, I think everything will go so well for us.
Coach, after the Ghana match, you probably have sat down with the technical team and gone through the whole analysis. Looking back, where would you think you needed to improve? I know you may not want to give much, but where do you need to improve, and can you expect any changes tomorrow?
I think our ball retention needs to be better. Our rotation of the ball, as Lebo speaks, I spoke about, needs to be better. Our movement of the ball needs to be better, but we all know probably the heat played a huge role in that as well, trying to save energy. That needs to be better. And then, of course, finishing in the final third, because we had really good opportunities with Jermaine, with Ronaldo having one, with Hilda having two on any given day. That's probably in the back of the net. So that needs to be better. The result was good, but we're always looking at where we can improve, where we can do better. Because we've worked on some things, but not everything is going to come right on match day. So we looked at that game, and we looked at the Tanzania game, and we found there's still certain things that we're going to do against Tanzania that needs to be better. So we've worked on that. We don't have much time, but we've worked on that and tried to rectify, make a lot of corrections in terms of that. So we're not going to change the way we play, though, because as I said before, that's who we are. We just need to be better at it.
Can I just ask you a big picture question? I mean, you mentioned the Club World Cup, and you know this competition is running parallel to the Euros. What is it a good thing that you've got all this football happening, or do you feel that attention's taken off this? I mean, like yesterday there were 11 goals in 2 games, and obviously it's a spectacle here. Is it getting the stuff it deserves in terms of attention?
I think it's a lack of respect. To me, honestly, you wouldn't have this Club World Cup and the Men's World Cup here, or men's big competition. You wouldn't have that. Having maybe all the women's games together, maybe a plus. But you wouldn't have a big competition like the FIFA World Cup being this sort of, for lack of a better word, a distraction, where everybody should be watching the women's game. You wouldn't have that happening, so I think that needs to be better. I think that for me just shows the seriousness around the women's game itself, because that needed to be able to sit down and say, can we have it a month later, can we have it a month earlier, so that there's full concentration on the women's game.
One thing that's quite apparent is obviously the team has a lot of veteran players, very experienced players, but there was a smattering of youth, and Ronnie's debut was a nice moment. What did you make of her little cameo? I think obviously the miss that you alluded to earlier is quite uncharacteristic, in terms of what we see from her generally. But do you think that was just the new stage, and if and when she gets another opportunity, are you expecting something different in front of her? But just maybe a word on her day.
Look, I think you can't really judge it. It was such a little time. It normally takes players a little while longer to get into the game, but just to get that one cap out of the way, I think takes the pressure off. The nerves are gone now. She's got that one cap, and we know what she's capable of. So we're not judging her. We're giving her time to grow, like we've given with all the other players. And you talk about a smattering of young players. We've always had this players coming in and out. In February, had a camp for a very, very young group of players, because we also look into the future, to make sure that we have this big core group. We have the COSAFA Cup coming up as well. So that is where we send players to test them at international level. I mean, Noxie was one of them that was a revelation in 2019. And look where she is now. She's been overseas, abroad at 3 really good clubs. So, those are the opportunities. But just getting that one cap out of the way as well, and giving her a feel of what it's like, because we know the quality that she brings. But I think she'll get better and better with players around her, learning from the likes of Jermaine, and learning from the likes of the more senior players, sitting down with them and having conversations. And I think that is really key. Especially, I mean, you look at Lebo and Fikile Magamo plays at right back as well. I'm sure they have lots of conversations, because the experience that she has, been to 2 World Cups, been to Olympic Games, all of that, been to so many WAFCONs, I think that experience is second to none. So the conversations that they have, and the questions that's asked by those players, because I was speaking to Ronaldo earlier, and she said she was, chatting to Jermaine, just in the conversation she's learned so much. So that's really good for us going forward.
If I can throw a similar one
to you, to get an idea of what it's like from a player's perspective, what Coach has just spoken about, bringing in those players, taking them under your wing. Obviously, that's something that we've seen over the years, but is that something that you do put a particular emphasis on, or that the coaching staff ask of you, or is it just something that comes naturally in the team dynamic?
No, I think it comes naturally. Like once a coach brings in a new player, maybe let's say, for example, Figile, because she's playing at the right back. I've played the right back position for a long time. So I think it's just a matter of me as a senior, I need to have a conversation with her, talk to her, or even her if she doesn't understand anything, something that coach is saying, she can come back to me and talk to me and ask, where can I improve? And then I'll tell her what to do, what not to do, and all those things. Because like, we're not gonna be in this setup forever. So we just need to at least pass in the little experience that we have to the young ones coming up. Because we can't just always say the young ones. They need to like grow also, so that like they can do better in the field of play. Like when we're talking about Ronel, yeah, I saw even yesterday she was doing some shots with Jamil. You can see that like she wants to learn more. And also with Fix, she was trying to do those crosses and everything. So we just have to be there and guide them to make sure they become better.
There's just a word on Regina, if you don't mind. She's was out for so long, and I just wonder what changed in her game that made you bring her back, and how do you analyse the 20 minutes she had the other day?
We never forget about players. I can go back even further to Busi Siwendameni. She was with Coach Vera. Coach Vera left. She had a huge injury, ACL, and before the WAFCON in 2018. One of the players withdrew on the day we were coming to the preparation camp, and Coach Aline had flown up, and there was this one game, Super Falcons and Team T, and she was playing. And I'd been to matches the whole season, and we were looking for a very creative player, you know, to complement Linda. At the time, Linda coming through as well. And we went to this game, and she did everything that I wanted from a player in that position. Called up. Went to WAFCON, went to the World Cup. So we never forget about players. I think Regina's had a very, very good season so far at JVW. She's probably one of the reasons that has allowed them to be so expansive further up, because they also play in a three at the back system. So she's been key in holding that together from behind. You know, Mamelodi Sundowns, she had different roles, so we probably didn't see the best of her there with her different roles. And like I said, we never forget. And, the quality that she brings, I think it's helped us. It's allowed us to be able to use her in the way we want to play. So when players are out there, I say, we never forget about you. You select yourself by what you do. When you come into camp, we want to see that same thing, but on a higher level. We don't want to see anything different, because that's why we selected you. And I think she's shown that quality, you know, the calmness she brings as well. I think she's also has been out of the team since 2018, 2019, but the experience that she also has been to Champions League with Mamelodi Sundowns as well, so that all rubs off as well. Always laughing, always smiling, you know, so add that little bit to the dynamics of the team as well. But on the field, I think the calmness that she brings, the quality that she brings off the ball and on the ball in that position has really, really helped us, because when we looked at the last WAFCON, the way we did that, after the first game, every game we looked at resting some players, making sure that, you know, when you get to the latter stages, that you have a fresher group of players, and being able to play in that position has also helped us a lot, you know. So we never forget. The players just have to be consistent, and they have to keep working, and hopefully they'll get a call up, because we never forget about them.
Merci beaucoup, coach. Merci beaucoup à vous, championne. Merci à vous, chers confrères. Et bonne chance à vous pour ce match. Il y a donc l'entraînement de l'Afrique du Sud ce soir à 19h au stade annexe pour tous ceux qui veulent être là. On vous attend. 15 minutes ouvertes aux médias.
Okay. Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
In actual fact, I should have said, the beginning of the season, there was a lot of players moving mean, some clubs release 14 players, some clubs release 15 players, some clubs sign 15 players. So for me, that was going to be interesting to see how they adapted the new clubs and what they bring to the new clubs.
Right.
Like, that's what I should have actually have said.
It's okay, it's still recording.
That's what I actually should have said, because
Yeah.
I think 14 released 14 players, signed 14 players.
Sure.
Richmond released 15 odd players,
Yeah.
signed similar amount of players. So for me, I still said that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And she's gone on and made JKW look better.
Yeah.
Sometimes she wasn't that effective. to
Yeah,
be honest.
okay. I did an interview with her the other day for BDK, for Sunday Times. So that'll help. Thank you. Thanks very much.
No,
Good
she's
luck.
been really good for them. So
Yeah.
that's why I called her.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, she's been good for them in the way they play.
No. And she's lovely. She's really sweet. Thank you.
For your soccer updates and breaking news, please visit www.ngoba2010sharpi.com.